And we're back. Hey.
What up?
It's been a little while since our last one. You guys don't know that. But for us, it's been a little while.
I'm going because we're recording a whole bunch of episodes before I actually put anything out.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious about like what order things get put out in and like when they learn information about us.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little bit of a fun time for a hot sec.
You know, considering how I'm planning on releasing the Bond episodes in particular, like this is going to be months and months and months out, you know?
Yeah.
I'll just let you know, it's still a little cold outside right now.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Like, I was really excited to watch this movie because I wanted to, like, you know, get under the covers and snuggle with my boyfriend and warm up.
What a great idea. Sounds like a great plan. Well, anyway...
So we're watching a new Bond movie, and we have a brand new shiny Bond.
We do. We have a new Bond. I don't know about brand new shiny Bond, but we have a new one.
I'm very excited for new Bond.
Yeah, after the last one, Sean Connery was done.
Not even a dump truck full of money.
No. Broccoli and Saltzman, they begged and pleaded. Nothing would deter Sean Connery. He said that he would never again be James Bond.
Was that a lie? Because didn't he do one unofficial Bond movie later?
Yes, called Never Say Never Again.
Yeah.
That was the joke.
Huh.
Yeah. But for now, Sean Connery out. So who are they going to get? Apparently they went to George Lazenby and said, "You want to come back?" And he was like, "Nope."
No, people were very mean to me, and I don't want to do that again.
But they offered it to a few actors. A couple of people that they considered for the role this time, because they considered like 10 people last time and 10 people the time before. There were tons of people who have been talked about one time or another. This time, apparently, Steve McQueen and Paul Newman were guys that they were talking about.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Those two guys seem more in the realm of, like, I could kind of see.
Yeah, not like what we would think of as like an action movie star, but like they were a little bit more used to action.
Yeah, that's kind of the big thing. Burt Reynolds, Broccoli approached him to kind of talk about the role, but Burt Reynolds said, "No, British guy should play it, not me. I'm out."
Yeah, fair on him. Like I don't know a lot about Burt Reynolds' acting career.
Sure.
I don't know if he would be any good at a British accent.
Mm-hmm. They offered, or not offered, but they screen tested John Gavin again. That was the guy that they were going to have before, who actually got hired to be him, and then...
Oh, yeah.
But I guess for some reason, he did not get the role.
Yeah, he might have looked around and just been like, seems like a bit of a mess.
Yep. So United Artists, the distributor, they were pushing for an American to play Bond. They wanted to make Bond more of like an American production, not like a British thing, more of an American thing.
Bad choice.
Yeah, I agree completely. Broccoli and Saltzman both said, they insisted that they thought that it probably should be a British actor.
Yeah.
And they put forward Roger Moore. Moore had been considered way back when for Dr. No, and then he was also kind of considered when they were thinking about On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But way back in Dr. No, they thought he was too young, and for On Her Majesty's Secret Service, he was doing something else, and so he wasn't available. It's kind of funny that they thought he was too young because he's actually older than Sean Connery, but he's got a more youthful look. Connery is very gravelly and, you know...
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Moore is much more suave and kind of baby-faced in some ways.
I don't know anything about his schedule, but I have to assume that he didn't make 5 movies in 5 years.
No, in fact, Moore was more known as a TV actor.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The show that he did that most American audiences probably knew him for was he was on the show Maverick. Maverick was a Western in like 1960, 1961.
Okay.
You know, it's one of those TV series where like it only ran for 2 years, but it has like 50 million episodes because that's how Westerns worked back in those days. But he was Beau Maverick, which was like the cousin of the main Maverick guy, and he apparently had been staying in England for a while, and that's why he had an accent.
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
Fun fact, you know who they originally approached to be Beau Maverick in 1960?
Was it Sean Connery?
It was Sean Connery!
There are only 6 people in the entire world.
Yeah, apparently. It's weird because I don't think... When you think about James Bond, you can totally see how Sean Connery and Roger Moore could both sort of fit that idea. But in a vacuum, they're two very different types of actors.
Sure.
So it would be weird to me that they offered...
the same part to them 2 times.
Yeah, that seems so odd to me.
If I had a nickel, I'd have 2, which isn't a lot, but weird that it happened twice.
It is a little weird that he happened twice. But the show that he was probably the most well-known for in Britain was a show called The Saint.
That is vaguely familiar.
The Saint is a show, it's kind of based on a book series. He plays a character named Simon Templar. The Saint. And he's sort of like a vigilante hero. Like, he's sort of a guy who helps people out when normal authorities can't, that sort of thing. But he's supposed to be very, like, morally upstanding, I guess, yeah.
I feel like looking at some of the other actors in, like, Bond movies, I feel like I've seen that show come up a couple of times of, like, yeah, they did, like, an episode of The Saint.
Yes, we did talk about that a little bit. But Roger Moore made a lot of sense if you think about The Saint, because The Saint kind of he's not a secret agent, but he kind of had a very similar sort of vibe as Bond.
Sure.
But he was also a little more comedic, and I guess Simon Templar would sometimes break the fourth wall and he'd, like, address the audience and stuff like that.
Oh.
And so there was sort of a winking, smiling, like, lovable rogueness to that character, and that was one of the reasons why people really liked Roger Moore, because he kind of had a lightness, despite the fact that he was playing this, like, action hero kind of thing. And it made a lot of sense. And if you are the kind of person who is trying to hire for James Bond, now thinking this is the same person, might be played by different actors, but this is the same person,
yeah.
Being roughly the same age as Sean Connery makes sense now, even though Sean Connery was like, I'm getting too old for this. Moore is already older. Oh, well. But yeah, Moore had kind of a reputation for playing these sorts of characters, like action and humor, so he's kind of perfect. He's kind of perfect for this role.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially if the sentiment at the time was that, like, it's good, clean, schlocky fun.
Yes.
Of, like, you go for the spectacle, not necessarily, like, the plot or the guy's acting chops.
Yeah, and to a certain extent, Roger Moore played up the schlock. You will see in most of his roles, not all of them. One of the things is when you get into the 80s, the tone of the movies kind of shifts wildly over time. But especially early on with Roger Moore, they were really playing up the cheese.
How many movies does Roger Moore do?
He does 7.
Dang.
Which is the most of the official Bonds.
Yeah.
He does 7, and he does 4 in the 70s, and he does 3 in the 80s. And the 4 in the 70s are varying degrees of fairly silly.
Uh-huh.
Then in the 80s, he does, like, 2 really serious ones, and then 1 very silly one. And they're kind of, like, that one is sandwiched in between the other 2. It's kind of odd. They sort of didn't know what they wanted to do.
Just like a random hard tonal shift.
Yeah, it's a problem. We'll get to that pretty soon.
Well, okay, so wait, is he in his 50s when he does the first Bond movie?
No, he is in his let me check here. So he was born in 1927 and his first film is in 1973. So that means that he would have been 45 or 46.
So he is like in his 50s when he's done.
Oh yeah, when he's in the 80s, he's absolutely in his 50s.
When they usually hire Bonds, do they usually hire them in like late 30s, early 40s?
It actually kind of changes depending on
the Bond.
On the Bond, yeah. We'll actually kind of talk about it when we get to Daniel Craig, because one of the things about Daniel Craig that they sort of emphasize when they first hire him is that he's this young, fresh, vibrant Bond, and then yet by like the 3rd movie he does, a lot of the plot points are already about how he's old and washed up, which to me is like, y'all, the whole point is that he was the young, fresh Bond.
Yeah. It's been 4 years.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Maybe my biggest problem with the Daniel Craig films. We'll get to them. Take a drink, by the way, every time I say we'll get to it.
Oh my God, don't do that.
Yeah.
Or do it, like, listen to one episode at a time. Don't Don't marathon these episodes as a drinking game.
Oh,
You'll die.
Yeah. Also, anytime we mention Nikki Vanderzil dubbing a voice, anytime we say it's good work if you can get it, anytime we connect anything to Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
No, stop. Not even we want people to be alive to listen to the episodes.
And then anytime I go on a weird tangent about some actor who was in one scene of the movie who actually ended up being like a really interesting person, just like chug your whole drink while I'm talking about them.
Don't do that. Hi, this is Hannah, your big sister. Don't do that. I love you. Take care of yourself. Drink water.
So, new Bond. New direction in the films, you think?
Ooh, good question. Do I think the studios want to shake it up a little bit and get hot and fresh, see if that'll attract some new viewers, or do I think they're going to be like, no, we should do what we've been doing before because that's the formula that worked. We just have a new guy. I'm going for option B. Listeners, lock your vote in now, and the answer is...
They do both, actually.
Oh my god, how?
Well... they bring back Guy Hamilton as the director.
Sure.
Director of the previous film Diamonds Are Forever, as well as Goldfinger. You know,
the two really, really big ones. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Thunderball was the one that made the most money.
Sure.
But Goldfinger was the one that, you know, kind of made James Bond into like a phenomenon, even more than just like a single success, like into like a huge thing.
Yeah.
And then Diamonds Are Forever was considered, like, at the time anyway, a return to form after the disappointment of On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So they wanted Guy Hamilton back. Obviously, Ken Adam, he is not back.
No.
As the production designer.
No. Ken Adam, no.
I know. This is not... He will come back to the series. We will see him again. But, you know, he's out for this one. And I do think that it shows in some of the visual design. Part of it is this movie... My memory might be bad about this, but I remember Live and Let Die being a lot more outdoors. There's a lot of, like, because it takes place largely in, like, the Caribbean and Louisiana and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of, like, bayou, swamp, outdoor sets, a lot of sort of smaller indoor ones. There aren't, like, the big, austere villain lairs in this one, really.
You know, I was having a thought as you were saying that of like, you know, James Bond hasn't done a whole lot of stuff like in England, but I suppose if he's like an intelligence operative, he's out gathering intelligence. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you remember last time, Maibaum wrote part of the script, but then left, and Tom Mankiewicz, I believe it's Tom Mankiewicz, took over. And Yep. So this time it's just him. Maibaum is not involved at all.
Okay.
At the time, Maibaum said that he was too busy doing other things, but he later on said that he didn't like it.
He just didn't like working on Bond movies?
No, he didn't like the idea for this film.
Oh, okay.
So this film has a very different sort of style of villain and sort of caper that the earlier ones do. All the earlier ones are very like super science and, you know, globe-trotting, Spectre, all this kind of stuff. This one's kind of about a drug lord who's trying to like make a bunch of money selling heroin.
Huh. Interesting.
And basically, Maibaum was like, that doesn't, to me, feel like a James Bond film.
I can see that, definitely, especially like with the previous James Bond movies and the state of the world at the time.
Yeah.
Although, when did this movie come out?
1973.
Yeah, so that was like the early stages, but like it was as a lot of like cocaine stuff was really ramping up. So
yeah, for some reason, Mankiewicz, he really wanted the bad guys to be like black drug dealers.
Yeah,
that like was a big part of it. We'll get into whether or not it works after we watch the movie. So the book largely takes place in New York City and Jamaica, but Guy Hamilton really liked jazz. And so he wanted it to be in New Orleans because he wanted New Orleans. He wanted jazz. And he also didn't want it to take place in Jamaica because he thought, well, we already did Jamaica.
Sure.
So we're going to do it on a fictional island, and we're going to call it San Monique, which is sort of kind of, based on Haiti.
Yeah, okay.
Apparently they wanted to originally film in Haiti, but there was some stuff going on at the time in the country, political reasons. They eventually ended up not shooting it there. They just shot it in Jamaica.
Okay.
So it's sort of like
it's on location in Jamaica, but they're like, no, it's San Monique.
Yeah, exactly. And the budget was set at $7 million, which is basically what the budget has been for like 4 films in a row.
Yeah. It seems like a pretty solid, like, you're going to get a good ROI on that budget.
Yeah, absolutely. So, some different things, some of the same things. One big change, the music. So John Barry, who had written all of the songs up to this point and had done a lot of the, orchestration and stuff up to this point, he was working on a musical at the time. And so he was busy. So they said, well, we should find another songwriter. Who's really big right now? Hey, there's this guy named Paul McCartney.
No.
Yeah.
What?
So Saltzman, in the 60s, had passed on producing Hard Day's Night.
Really?
Yeah, and he really regretted it. He was like, that was a huge hit. I didn't think it was going to be a big hit. It was a huge hit. And he was just very keen on working with McCartney. They even got George Martin, who was the producer for the Beatles, oftentimes called the fifth Beatle, to write the score for the film as well.
Interesting.
So he's involved with this. Paul and Linda McCartney both wrote this song together. Live and Let Die would be the biggest hit for a James Bond theme. It was nominated for an Oscar for original hit song. I believe it ends up being like number 2 on the charts, which is the highest like any of the Bond film music has ever charted.
I mean, you hired Paul McCartney. Fucking of course. Like,
Guns N' Roses would later on do a cover of it, which would also be a big hit. And Weird Al would ask Paul to do a parody called Chicken Pot Pie. But Paul McCartney was like, I'm a vegetarian. I would prefer you didn't sing it about chicken pot pie. And Weird Al, who was also a vegetarian, was like, you know what? Yeah, that makes sense. He apparently does do it live, but he didn't record it.
oh, okay.
Yeah, because, I mean, Live and Let Die, Chicken Pot Pie. Like, what else are you going to write that, like, fits in
that fits so perfectly. Yeah. What are you going to do? Satan pot pie? No, you're not.
Yeah, it's just not going to work. So, yeah, that is Live and Let Die. You will hear the song. I got to be honest with you. Live and Let Die is a badass track. And it sounds like a movie theme. Like, it's a kind of got a pop song thing going on, but it's also got these like instrumental sections, and there's like different sort of pieces that kind of have different feels. It kind of goes from like light and poppy to like very like active and lots of instrumentation going on. Like Paul McCartney brought his A game. Absolutely 100%. This was not like a throw off that he just like, let's throw it on into the movie. It's like, no, he went hard. And it's maybe my favorite. It's up there. It's really, really good.
I was just wondering if this is going to be one of those things of like, I heard something my entire life and all of a sudden be like, oh, that's where that's from.
You absolutely are going to hear this and go, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was his Bond theme the whole time.
Mm-hmm. And it's so successful that it actually starts a trend where they don't just have like an in-house guy writing these songs. They're mostly going to get other people to write them kind of in the future.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are big bands and big pop artists, from Dire Straits to frickin' Madonna.
Adele. Yeah.
And Adele, yeah.
Oh, God, yeah, the Madonna one is coming.
We got a while to go before Madonna.
That's fair.
All right, so Live and Let Die, a polarizing film with some really good stuff, I think, but also some pretty bad stuff.
Oh, that sounds delightful. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. All right. Live and let die.
It's such a sunny day. Such a sunny day. Such a sunny day. Away.
And we're back.
You know, someday there might be a well thought out and respectful depiction of voodoo practices on screen.
Yeah.
Not fucking today. This movie sucks. This is the first time I've like this. I never want to watch this again. Like of all of it, I'd watch some of the other ones again. Like I might put it on if I'm taking a nap for some of the slower ones, but like I'd watch it again. I never want to see this movie again. This fucking sucks.
Yeah. This is a divisive film.
Yeah.
I will say, just briefly about your point about a respectful take on voodoo. I did a paper in college about voodoo, and one of the big things about it is that there's essentially very little like actual like good research about it.
Yeah.
That's available because so much of it is like folk culture, and it's been so like I don't even know how to describe
like the
it.
cultural pop like description or like idea of what voodoo is has like so infected people.
Yeah,
and also it's I don't like it's a fairly closed practice.
Yeah.
And also it's a religion that is a response to people being taken from Africa and transplanted here and then being said you can't worship the way that you used to. So like I totally understand if a bunch of you like voodoo practitioners are like, yeah, I'm not dealing with you educational people and like trying to study me. That's not going to be something that I want to deal with. I totally get that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, and it also, you know, like there's voodoo and there's also hoodoo, and a lot of things that people think of as voodoo is actually the hoodoo and the other way around.
Yeah. And there's also what's the other one that's like an African beliefs put onto like Catholic framework, so like all of the saints were just replaced by like other gods.
Yeah, I mean we're kind of talking about a lot of similar things here, and when you're talking about, you know, like hundreds of different cultures of African folks who were brought to America over, you know, hundreds of years, and then there's all this like or syncretism of culture and religion. It's very strange, and there's not a whole lot of like really good understanding from people outside of it.
Yeah, and it's a very easy shorthand for people to be like, oh, look at this weird, spooky, scary thing that these brown people are doing. Isn't that so terrible?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. But back to the topic at hand.
Oh yeah, back to James Bond.
This movie's it's not good.
It's not good. I like we've done like blow by blow breakdowns of the plot. You kind of can't do that with this one.
Yeah, basically the overview of the plot is that there's a guy, he's the diplomat for a fictional country called San Monique, and he's also a crime boss in New York City named Mr. Big, and he's trying to corner, basically like monopolize the heroin market in the country. He's going to give a bunch of it out free, so that will put everybody else out of business, so that then he can take it over. It's not a good idea. I don't think it'll work.
There's also like he's got this girl with him named Solitaire, and she reads tarot, except no, she doesn't. There's like a bunch of stuff, like there's a lot of stuff in this, and like I don't know a lot about tarot, but there's a lot of times I'm like, tarot doesn't work that way.
No,
it simply doesn't.
I mean,
yes, I know tarot doesn't work at all.
Yeah,
but like to the people who believe in it, like you can't say a statement and then ask, "Am I lying?" and have someone lay out a tarot spread. And
no,
be like, it's false.
It's supposed to be very vague and forward, you know, because that's the only way that it really makes sense. Is if you're like, oh, well, there's going to be new challenges in your life. That's always going to be true.
Yeah,
but you can always say things like that. You know, oh, bad things are going to happen. Yes, bad things are always happening. Constantly, all the time. Have you looked outside lately? Anyway. So James Bond, a different guy this time again. He's sent to investigate the deaths of 3 agents. Which, sure, that makes sense that they would send him out to do that. Why were those 3 agents killed by these guys? That is never clear.
Right. Especially because, like, if they killed 3 people within a day, like, you're gonna attract attention. Of
Yes.
course you are. So, like, were they trying to get people's attention, or was, like, this is, like, a very slick operation. Like, there's tendrils everywhere.
Yeah.
Apparently half of Harlem works for this guy. So, like,
Yeah.
the fact that they just kill 3 agents in a single day, it either seems like they want the attention, which, why do you want that? Why do you want government eyes on you?
Yeah.
You're committing crimes. Or B, they fucked up somehow.
I think what we're supposed to think is that, you know, like, one of those agents is keeping an eye on the Filet of Soul restaurant, and one of the agents is, you know, he's at the UN and he's, like, keeping an eye on like, I guess we're supposed to think that they're, like, catching on to the plot, but then killing all 3 of them will just draw more attention to the plot.
Wait, was that guy at the UN, was he an agent and not just a guy who works at the UN?
Apparently, he was supposedly an agent. They
That
said
was-
he killed 3 agents.
That was okay. In the cold open, this guy at the UN, like, he's just there. There's a bunch of people. Some guy is giving a speech in Hungarian, and, like, all of the other people have, like, things in their ears so they can hear translations.
Yeah.
So then, you know, we, like, pan over up to the booth where the guy is, like, giving the translation to the dude from the United Kingdom.
Yep.
And there's, like, a little, like, box of wires, and he, like, this is so dumb. There's a white wire that a hand pulls out from off screen.
Yeah.
And then he puts in a red wire. And then he has a box with a plunger on it. And he pushes the plunger. And that does question mark, which kills the guy.
Yeah.
It's like he hears a tone that just immediately stops his brain activity or something.
Yeah, it's like, if we're supposed to believe it's so loud that it, like, kills him, like, that it would break the thing.
Yeah.
Like, the speaker wouldn't be able to handle that unless they have the frequency that kills you, you know?
Please understand, this is the tone for the whole rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's
It
so
is-
dumb.
It is so dumb.
It's so dumb, and I hate it. Like, there are some very fun things in this movie. I'm gonna be nice to it. This is the nicest I'm gonna be to it, because I'm kind of with you. This is the first time I'd seen it in a while, and it has not aged well. There are some fun things in the movie. You know, some of the side characters, some of the henchmen are kooky and very, like, over the top.
Yes.
And like, there's some fun, like, fight scenes, and there's some good stunts. And, you know, it's kind of ridiculous. There's a lot of little humorous bits that are kind of fun. That's a Roger Moore staple. And you know, I don't think Mr. Big / Dr. Kananga is, like, a very well done villain in the script,
Yeah.
but I do think Yaphet Kotto is doing his best.
They gave him nothing and he's doing what he can with
Yeah,
it.
and some of the visuals are interesting. You know, we talked about no Ken Adam this time, but we do have Sid Kane, and Sid Kane was the production designer for From Rush with Love, and he also worked on a bunch of the early James Bond movies. So he's got some experience in this stuff, and you can tell that with some of the, you know, layers and some of the interior stuff, they are absolutely pulling from Ken Adam.
Yes.
But there is something about this movie that feels very different from the earlier ones, and it's not in a good way.
No, yeah. There definitely are some, like, fun bits. There's some fun smaller actors. There's some very silly things and some jokes that happen. None of it is enough to save this movie.
No, we even get Quarrel Jr.
We even get Quarrel Jr.
Quarrel
Like,
Jr. That's right. This guy who is helping James Bond in San Monique and also in New Orleans, I think, is Quarrel Jr., which, you know, that's a kind of a fun thing, but why don't they extrapolate on that more? Why isn't there a scene where it was just like, you were with my pappy when he died or something? Like, they don't, it just goes almost unmentioned.
Yeah, it's like he and Bond have a relationship that has been established off screen, and so, like, we don't know if, like, Bond knew him when he was younger, if
Yeah.
he knew, like, if Quarrel Jr. knew Bond before his dad died, or if, like, after they established some sort of relationship. It's literally nothing. It's just, oh, by the way, this is my friend Quarrel Jr.
In fact, there are several places in this movie where it seems like there's a scene cut out.
Yeah.
There's several times when it cuts from one thing to the other and there's no indication of time passing, but, like, that it doesn't make any sense. You know, where the part where James Bond, he's like on the island and he's trying to get to where Solitaire is, and then suddenly he's in the room where she does all the readings and is like sitting there and she walks in. It's like there is no setup for that scene at all. And I guess, yeah, you can follow it, but it's very jarring. Like you're not enjoying it.
There are a couple of things that I have to talk about. So Solitaire, she like reads tarot, right?
Yeah.
She's a very beautiful woman. She's played by Jane Seymour, and she has lots of really great outfits and makeup and hair, and it's all really good.
Yeah.
There's just one bit, like it's like the third or fourth time that we see her, and the third or fourth time that we like see her drawing tarot cards, where she's like sitting at this table and she's got like bejeweled peacock feathers fanned out behind her, and she has this giant headdress and like this huge cape on, and like there's like the circular table right in front of her, and like Kananga wants her to do something or like wants information from her, and at one point she gets frustrated and she just slides open the table and stands up, and like the headdress and the cape stay.
Yeah, because they're like built into
it's attached.
It's really funny.
So it's one of those things of like, sorry, did you need this whole get up to like do this? Because you've been reading tarot cards this whole time. Yeah, and then like James Bond, when like he comes on there and he finds her, he's like in the same spot and he's sitting where she was sitting. He's got the cape on while he's messing with the cards.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, oh my god. Oh. So James Bond sees this hot lady and he's like, I'm gonna make that hot lady mine. And so a bunch of stuff happens, and eventually he ends up like they've been flirting, and she keeps telling him like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be with you. No. And at one point, like, so then he like gets to where she is, and he's got the fucking tarot deck, and the whole time she keeps pulling the priestess, the lovers, and there's like a third one.
She pulls the fool and the lovers and the priestess and the queen of cups.
Yeah,
you know, and death. You know, all the,
and like
all the classics.
She keeps pulling the lovers over and over again anytime Bond comes up.
Yeah.
So James Bond gets to her, and he's sitting in the fancy table with the fancy headdress and all of that.
Yeah.
And they're having a little quippy thing, and she's like, I can't have sex with you. More to the point, I don't want to have sex with you. And James Bond is like, why don't you let the cards decide? And he fancies cards out, and she takes one, and it's the lovers, and then they go have sex, and she very clearly does not want this. And then,
she doesn't, although I will say she has been pulling the lovers up to this point. It wasn't like this was the first time.
No, sure, yes, but still, she doesn't want
She
this.
doesn't really want to.
She doesn't. She's sad the whole time.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we find out that, like, he had a whole deck of just the lovers.
Yeah.
Where did you get that, Jameson?
Yeah.
Where did you get that?
Did you buy it at the store?
Did you buy 52 different tarot packs to just pull the lovers out? What the fuck is wrong with you, my guy?
Did you call up Q, who, by the way, is absent from this film?
I know, I was so sad.
It's like the first one. It's like the only one until Daniel Craig that he's not in. It's kind of wild. Did you call him up and say, hey man, send me 52 The Lovers
of like this very specific tarot deck too? Because like, you know, there are a billion different kinds of tarot decks. So.
Apparently the filmmakers wanted to have Salvador Dali design them a surrealist tarot deck for this movie, but he asked for way too much money, so they were like, yeah, fuck it, we'll just get somebody else to do it.
That would have been rad as hell.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess. Salvador Dali, very interesting artist, kind of a shithead.
Also kind of a shithead. Yeah, so like they have sex, and then it turns out, like she believes that whatever ability she had to see the future through the cards goes away once she has sex. And Kananga has made it very clear that once she can no longer read the cards, she's not useful to him, and potentially he's going to kill her. So...
Oh, even grosser. I'm sorry. Even grosser.
Oh, yeah. He's going to, like, make her his mistress.
Yeah. He says that when I don't need you to see anymore, I will give you love. Which is very gross.
Yeah. So... But also, like, there is the veiled thread of also, like, I'm going to kill you like I killed your mother. Because, like, they bring that up.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. And you get the idea later on that maybe she wasn't happy doing this thing, but there's not really a very good indication of that early.
Yeah, what any of her motives are unclear. Like, because, so, like, she goes with James, like, she has sex with James Bond because the cards told her to. She's very very sad afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, she's sad when it before. I can only assume she's sad during, and she is sad after. I don't know why James Bond wants to have sex with this woman. She clearly does not want it.
Well, but then after they're done, she's just like, let's do it again. Like, it's...
Yeah. So, like, she runs away with him, and then a bunch of bullshit happens, and eventually, like, they get caught by Kananga's men again. And then I don't know if she, like she smacks him on the face and is all like, why would you do this to me? She smacks James Bond. And I don't know if she's, like, that is, like, another turn for her, or if she is just putting an act on to, like, convince Kananga's men so that she can survive. And I don't know this because the movie doesn't care about her.
No, and it kind of sucks because Jane Seymour is actually an actress. Like, it's not like a lot of the Bond girls where they're just like a model.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there have only been a couple where it's been an actual actress, like Honor Blackman and Diana Rigg. They were actually actresses, and Jane Seymour is actually an actress. Like, we'll talk about her in a minute, but she's just not really given anything to do.
Nobody is given anything to do in these movies.
Yeah.
Well, in this movie in particular.
It's pretty bad. There are some fun little gadgets. You've got the watch that does magnets, I guess. It doesn't.
And also is a saw.
Also is a saw. We don't get the setup for that.
Yeah, it's literally like, oh, by the way, it was a saw the whole time as I'm being lowered into a pit full of sharks.
Yeah, and at the beginning, like, you know, M even says to James Bond, like, oh, you got your watch fixed by Q? The taxpayers won't be happy about this. And then he's like, but don't you see, boss, it's a fancy watch that does cool things.
It's my spy watch.
Yeah, it seems like Q...
My spotch.
Get out of here. And once again, like, Moneypenny covers for James Bond's, like, mistress.
Oh, yeah, because when we first see Roger Moore James Bond, he is in bed with a lady, and that was, like, some Italian agent or whatever.
Yeah, it's not important.
And truly nothing is.
No, nothing. Some of the ways that people die in this movie are very funny.
Yeah.
Yaphet Kotto gets exploded by an air canister.
What the fuck is with the shark pellets? What is going on with the shark? Like, is the intended use... Okay, so James Bond has this, like, shark gun that he's supposed to use to, like, get back to Felix Leiter and Quarrel Jr. back on the boat after they explode the poppy fields. By the way, there are poppy fields because, like, the whole point is heroin. Anyway, so, like, Felix Leiter gives him a shark gun, and the shark gun has pellets that release a bunch of gas, despite the fact that the pellets are they're like bullet size. They're very small.
Yeah, they're a little bigger than bullets.
Yeah.
They're I would say trying to think of a good... I mean, you know, it depends on the kind of bullets. They are the size of, like, larger bullets, but they're kind of capsules. They're, like, big capsules.
But so Kananga, like, he's at the very end when he thinks he's won, he's, like, laughing. And he's like, I'm going to play with your toy. And so he shoots the gun at the couch that one of his henchmen was sitting on. And the couch inflates a whole bunch.
Yeah.
What is the intended use for sharks there? Are you supposed to shoot a shark and make it explode?
I think that's what we're supposed to think it was for.
What a dumb way to deal with
it's
sharks.
It's really stupid.
It's really dumb.
It's really dumb. The way that Teehee gets handled.
Oh, yeah.
Handled. They fight on the train at the very end. It's a cool little fight scene where, you know, he sneaks onto the train and then attacks James Bond. And they fight in this, like, really confined space, and his arm gets...
Oh, okay. So first, Teehee is a henchman who has a metal claw arm.
Yes, he's got a metal claw arm, and he, like, is choking James Bond, but he's got it, like, next to a window with, like, a handle, and then James Bond just happens to grab the wire cutters he keeps in his briefcase to snip the wires on the metal arm, which causes it to clamp on, and so the guy can't get out, and then he flips him out of the train.
Out of the open window of the train, and then his arm just comes off, and he is out into the darkness.
Yep, and then he says, just trying to be disarming to Solitaire. Yeah, like, this movie has so many of those little punny one-liners. Like, however much it happened during Sean Connery, it happened twice as much just in this one movie.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and that's going to be a going trend for Roger Moore. That's just a thing that he does. Yeah, I don't know how to... It's only been one film, but Roger Moore is very much already a very different kind of James Bond than Sean Connery
Definitely.
is. Sean Connery is much more, I would say, like action. He's like, getting in there, and he's, what's the word that I'm looking for? Sean Connery, he feels like in command and in control, but he does also feel like he's being threatened, and he's, surviving, and he's like, gritty, toughing it out. Whereas Roger Moore just always seems unflappable. He's got certain death, and he's just very, stiff upper lip British, like, oh, well, I don't know.
I'll find some way out of this.
Yeah. It's just a very different thing. He's just always quipping, always punning. Like Sean Connery would like do a whole fight scene, and then at the end would kind of like make a joke that would kind of lighten the mood. But then Roger Moore is just like the whole time just joke.
Yeah.
It's a different thing, and some people really like it. I personally don't think it works that well. I think there are some later movies with Roger Moore where the tone works better. We'll get to that. But yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, I don't like this movie. I'm not gonna blame Roger Moore for it, because in the same way that I don't think that On Her Majesty's Secret Service was bad because of Lazenby. I think it was bad because of the writing and the editing.
Although you said it was your favorite one.
Yeah, it's bad though.
Yeah, it's fair.
Those two things can both
Hannah,
be true.
I cannot wait till you see Man with the Golden Gun, because either you're going to be like, that was the biggest pile of shit I've ever seen, I don't ever want to watch another James Bond movie, or it's going to be your number one because you're going to be like, that was so stupid, I love it. It's going to be one of those two.
Yeah, so I don't think that this movie is bad because of Roger Moore.
No.
I think it's bad because the story is bad.
Yeah.
And also watching it from here in the world of 2025, wow, this is not a kind movie to black people.
It's
in
not
any way, shape, or form.
No, it's not.
Okay, so like the bit where he's like tailing someone into Harlem, and like every single person on screen is like reporting back to being like, oh, he just turned off this way. Like that's a little bit funny, but it also plays into the really gross stereotype that like all black people are involved in crime. That's not true, and that's a really gross thing to depict on screen.
Yeah, and the way that the movie, I think, is sort of like fighting that is that one of those guys who you think is reporting to the enemy is actually working for the CIA and he's helping out.
He's a good guy because he works for the CIA, or an organization which has famously never done anything wrong ever.
Not ever, no, not once. And then later on, we go on this boat, and there's this lazy sleeping guy, and we're like, oh, geez. And then it turns out that's Coral Jr., and he's actually helping out too. Which, again, I can kind of see that they're like, oh, it's not all of them. Most of them are. It's just most of them. They're just mostly like this, but there are some good ones, which is really what it feels like.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it. This is a pretty racist movie.
It's a pretty racist movie. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Although I will say that I don't know if this matters, but you can tell that the filmmakers are not trying to be racist, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely think that when they were doing it, it is more of like they were uncovering unconscious biases that they had, as opposed to being like, I'm gonna make, I don't know, Birth of a Nation or whatever. Like,
yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah. It is definitely. I do think that they weren't like trying to depict stereotypes intentionally, but they definitely depicted stereotypes unintentionally.
And that might just be because it was really influenced by blaxploitation films. And in fact, a lot of the actors, I'll talk about it in a minute, they were all blaxploitation film actors. Like, that's what they were all like doing. That's why they were hired to be in this movie.
Sure, but it is another one of those things trying to emulate a cultural thing that like you don't have a very close connection to.
That's true.
So like British people trying to do like emulate blaxploitation movies just comes out as exploitation.
I agree. I don't disagree with that. I don't feel like too many of the characters themselves ever come off very like, oh my God, I can't believe this one character is this huge racist stereotype. But taken as a whole, there are absolutely lots of little stereotypes that are not great.
Yeah, it's bad. I think my least favorite part was when we interrupted the fun boat chase to deal with racist sheriff for a while.
God. Yeah, for some reason, the screenwriter for this movie, he decided that he wanted to add J.W. Pepper as this comic relief character.
It was not relieving.
And no, it was excruciating.
It was so bad.
It hurts to watch. It really does. He's just not funny. And not only was he in this film, he would be in the next James Bond film.
Oh God, the immediate next one.
He's in the next one.
Oh God.
And then he's in like 4 or 5 other movies throughout the 70s and 80s where he plays the same character. People fucking loved this guy, apparently.
Oh, gross.
I don't get it. I legitimately do not understand what's funny about this guy. He's just kind of annoying. Maybe we just have a totally different idea about these like weird Southern cop like characters, like that's supposed to be a funny sort of archetype. I just don't get it. I've always thought it was bad. And for that 20-minute sequence, 2/3 of the way through the movie where he's doing this like really fast, fun boat chase, first of all, it goes on way too long. Way too long. It's kind of the same thing with Thunderball with all the underwater scenes.
Yeah.
It just goes on way too long, no matter how fun it is. And then it keeps getting intercut with basically a 20-minute episode of a TV show about this Southern cop who's got to deal with this crazy boat chase going on in his parish in Louisiana.
It's like an episode of the Dukes of Hazzard crashed into this movie for a while.
He plays a sheriff in an episode of Dukes of Hazzard.
Of course he does.
Yeah, I like that's the thing.
Oh, speaking of boat chase and this sheriff guy, so he is trying to chase down James Bond and also the guy who's chasing James Bond who works for Kananga.
Yeah.
And they're a bunch of cops and they're all like, well, we can't, I don't know that we have a boat fast enough to catch him. And he's like, oh, you go to my brother-in-law, Billy Bob. He's got the fastest boat on the bayou. And so the immediate next shot is like Billy Bob being like, getting a message to be like, hey, come chase these guys down with your very fast boat. And immediately one of Kananga's men shows up and conks brother-in-law Billy Bob on the head and steals his boat. How did that guy know, A, where the fuck Billy Bob was, and B, that he had the fastest boat on the bayou, and C, how then to get from Billy Bob's to wherever the fuck James Bond is?
I mean, you hear over the radio, he's like, they're going for Haley's Landing, which is like, okay, maybe he knows where that is.
Sure.
But why? Like, how?
Yeah.
This is...
How did you get to brother-in-law Billy Bob?
It's funny, when we watched Diamonds Are Forever, I had the thought where I was like, boy, this movie, I loved it when I was a kid, but it's really not aged well. This one is probably my least favorite. After watching this one, I felt the exact same way. I was like, man, this might be my least favorite.
Yeah.
I can't think about it for very long without my head hurting.
Yeah.
I would rather watch... I remember last week I said, Diamonds Are Forever, I don't want to watch it again. I would rather watch, like, Dr. No or something like that. I would rather watch Diamonds Are Forever than this one again.
Yeah, me too.
And that's sad.
Sorry, one more thing about the stupid boat chase, because I'm going to be thinking about this forever. It's the fastest boat on the bayou, and it catches up to James Bond in no time flat, but then the fastest boat on the bayou cannot actually catch James Bond's boat. It annoys me so much.
It happens all the time in film.
Yeah, in, like, racing things, when it's like, oh, we're going to go so fast and we're going to catch up to him, but then, like, the last bit, like, they can't get up, like, they can't get ahead of it. It happens all the time in, like, the Fast and the Furious movies, drives me fucking insane.
Yeah, there's, like, 5 miles between you and the car, and you can... catch, even though they're driving at full speed, you can catch up to them, but then they're always like 100 feet ahead of you.
Yeah.
Like there's no way to make that final little bit.
Or like you'll be like neck and neck so they can like look into each other's windows or whatever, but you can't get ahead of him despite the fact that you just fucking zoomed right up next to him.
It's ridiculous.
Drives me insane. I hate it so much. I hate this movie. I hate it.
Well, let's talk about the actors real fast. There aren't as many to talk about in this movie as there have been in a few other ones. Yaphet Kotto as Mr. Big / Mr. Kananga. Yaphet Kotto's a great actor. He started on Broadway. He was chosen for this role because he was also in a movie called Across 110th Street, which was also being distributed by United Artists at the time.
Yeah.
He was in a bunch of like blaxploitation films, but he was also in a bunch of other films too. He was in the Thomas Crown Affair. He was in a lot of cop films. He played a lot of like gangsters and things like that. That was something he did a lot at the time. But the thing that I remember him most, and probably most people remember him most for, was he was in Alien. He was Parker in Alien, and he does a great job in that movie. If anybody's seen Alien, there's only like 6 parts in that movie, and all 6 of them are really great, and they all I just love that movie so much. And he will always have a special place in my heart for being in that movie. Not necessarily this movie, but, you know, I still love him. He also was in, like, The Running Man. He was in a TV show called Homicide: Life on the Street for a long time. Interesting little tidbit. When Paramount was making Star Trek The Next Generation, they had a list of actors for who they wanted to play Jean-Luc Picard. On the top of that list for people they were thinking about, Yaphet Kotto.
Oh, dip. That would have been a different show.
Would have been a very different show. And I'm kind of sad that, like, obviously Patrick Stewart did an amazing job. Classic. Yeah. I would not change a thing about Next Generation. But I kind of want to see an alternate universe version where Yaphet Kotto plays Jean-Luc Picard. I want to see what that would be like.
Yeah, I would also like to see that.
That would be really fascinating. Really, really fascinating. So Solitaire was played by Jane Seymour. Jane Seymour's been in a million things. She has been on television since 1970, and she is still doing television to this day.
Yeah.
She is still around, and she is still doing television. A couple things that you may know about her. She's Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
Yep, I just saw that. I didn't want to ruin your reveal this time.
You didn't beat me to it!
I was looking at her and I'm like, I know her name, I know that face. Where do I know her from? I know her from Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
Yep, she was also in Battlestar Galactica. She was Serena, both on the original show and in the movie that they made in the late 70s. Gosh, she's been in a ton of TV, like I said. A lot of times she plays like a one episode role or like a couple of episode roles. You know, just a couple one. You know, she was in Dharma and Greg. She was in Law and Order SVU. She was in Smallville. She was on How I Met Your Mother. She was on Castle. She was on Jane the Virgin. I never watched that show, but people liked it. And she's currently on a show called Harry Wild, which I've never watched. Sometimes I see TV shows that have been on for 5 seasons, and I'm like, who watches this? I've never talked to a single human being who's ever watched this show, but apparently it's been on 5 seasons, and it's very popular.
Parents and grandparents is who watches it, would be my guess.
That's probably true. Every time I went to my granddad's house, he was watching, was it Chicago Blue or whatever?
Yeah.
And I was like, does anyone else watch this show? Apparently.
My grandpa was a big NCIS fan.
Oh, they watched the shit out of NCIS. They watched the fuck out of NCIS. Teehee, the henchman, with the claw for a hand, that was played by a guy named Julius Harris. Julius Harris was a mainstay in all of those blaxploitation films, and he basically did a ton of cameos for film and TV for the rest of his career. You know, every once in a while, if you watch something, you'll see him in it. Gloria Hendry, who plays Rosie Carver, similar kind of situation. She also was in a bunch of those blaxploitation films. I think they were all in Black Caesar, which is like one of the big blaxploitation films. I'm not an expert on this genre. I know it's kind of a big deal for some people. It's, you know, very culturally important, but not something that I know a lot about.
We didn't really talk about Rosie. She is supposed to be someone who is helping James Bond out in what is it?
In San Monique.
San Monique, that's right.
Yeah, she's apparently a CIA double agent because she's working for Mr. Kananga, but she's also working for the CIA. And, you know, she was like, oh, my first job was for this guy, and then he died, and it turns out that she helped kill him. And now she's working with James Bond and helped him get killed. You know.
Yeah, so like she was supposed to like lead him to some place where he could die, but then she died.
Yeah.
She also like, I think that she was supposed to be someone who would like lent weight to the fear that people have in the area of like not only voodoo but also Kannada.
Yeah.
But it just kind of made her seem like sad and weak and pathetic.
Yeah. I don't think she does a great job. And
I
don't think the character's very good. I don't think she, you know, like
I'm not blaming the actress. I think that she did what she could with what she was given, and she was not given a lot.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. Now, we're going to talk about perhaps my favorite character in the movie, Baron Samedi, That's the tall guy with the hat and the face paint and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's played by an actor named Jeffrey Holder. Jeffrey Holder has had a crazy cool career. He was a principal dancer for the Met Ballet. He was a Broadway actor. He won 2 Tonys.
Damn.
He directed and designed the costumes for The Wiz. And he won...
Oh, shit.
Yes. That's like a huge thing. He was in Annie. He was in Dr. Dolittle. He was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, not Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the one that we all like with Gene Wilder. The Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp from 2005 that some people really like, but most people think is just weird. He was Hannah.
Yeah.
He was the voice of Ray the Sun in Bear in the Big Blue House.
What?
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, I knew you would love that. Fascinating career. Like, really, really cool. Jeffrey Holder. Fascinating gentleman who did a lot of really cool work. Oh, he also did the performance. So when The Little Mermaid was up for Oscars,
Yeah.
the singer who did Under the Sea and Kiss the Girl didn't do the live performance at the Oscars. He did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why. I couldn't find any reason for why, but yeah, he did that.
Isn't that a thing with the Oscars where like sometimes, especially for like musicals, the people who like sing the musical in the movie don't usually sing the song at the Oscars? Isn't that like a thing?
I don't think so. Usually, if it's a performer that people know, they'll have them do it at the Oscars. But I'm not 100% sure about that.
Sure.
I might be wrong. Felix Leiter, played by yet another actor. I believe this is the 6th Felix Leiter. That would be Albert David Hedison. Albert David Hedison was the lead in the Fly movie in the 50s, the one with Vincent Price.
Oh.
Yeah, he was the guy who turns into the Fly, I believe. He was the captain in the Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea TV show.
Oh, yeah.
And then in his later career, he did a bunch of soaps. Like, he did a ton of episodes for The Young and the Restless and all that other kind of stuff. We will actually see him return as Felix Leiter.
I liked him as Felix Leiter.
Yeah, he's fine.
He was kind of like the only, not necessarily fun, but like he was the only one who like his part wasn't ridiculous and it wasn't stupid, and
Yeah.
I think that's why I liked him.
Yeah, he was fine. I liked the guy in Thunderball probably the best of all of the ones so far.
Yeah.
But I think he does a pretty decent job, and he comes back for another movie in like 15 years, and there's another Felix Leiter in between. It's strange, but that's how it works. Clifton James as J.W. Pepper. J.W. Pepper being, of course, the
Small town cop.
small town cop. Like I said, he did a bunch of those movies for some reason. You know, he was in Superman 2, basically playing the same part. And weirdly enough, he's from like Washington and Oregon. He's from like the Pacific Northwest. He's not even Southern. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know what's up.
Yeah, honestly, that's as much time as this character deserves on this show.
Yeah. We're going to talk about him next time.
Must we?
Yeah, apparently we have to. The guy who plays Harold Strutter.
Oh yeah, he was like the CIA agent, the black one down in New Orleans, who then got
Yes.
killed in the same. We didn't even talk about the fucking the swing jazz band and the murder plot that was associated with
Sorry,
it.
yeah, part
the
of
parade, the murder parade.
Yeah, part of the cold open is like this guy. He's like standing on a street corner, watching the restaurant, and this funeral parade comes through, and it's very New Orleans funeral parade, big band, great stuff. And then he's asked this guy standing next to him, it's like, "Who's the funeral for?" And the guy's like, "You," and he stabs him. And then they just drop the casket on top of him and then pick it up, and he's in the casket. It's hilarious. And then later on, the exact same scene happens with a different guy.
Yeah.
It's the same scene, the same actors. It's like, I think they did it on the same day, and they just did it twice with 2 different guys. I swear to God.
I wouldn't be surprised. That makes, especially because I'm pretty sure that like there's a close up on that crying lady. She was
Yeah.
wearing the exact same dress. So
But the actor who played that guy, Strutter, the second guy that they do that to, his name is Lon Sutton. And he's probably most known for being the first guy to play Papa in Starlight Express by Andrew Lloyd Webber.
What?
Yeah. Like, this is the thing. This is so fucking weird. How many of these, like characters do these, like, little things, these little, you know. He did some other film and TV, but he was mostly a stage actor and a singer and stuff. Like, that's more what he's known for. Coral Jr. is played by a guy named Roy Stewart. Roy Stewart was a Jamaican actor, and he was in a bunch of movies. He was in an episode of Doctor Who, as everybody is. He was in I, Claudius.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
He's in the original he was in the 1959 Mummy movie. That was his first film that he was in.
Oh.
He's just in a lot of, like, cool little things. The singer at the club, Filet of Soul.
Yeah. The lady in the beautiful rainbow sequin dress.
Yes.
My goodness.
So there's a little bit of a story with her. When they wanted to do the movie, they wanted to have Paul McCartney write the song, and
Yeah.
then they wanted to have another singer sing it like they had for all the other films. That's why they hired BJ Arnault. That's her name. But eventually they just decided, okay, we're just going to have Wings and Paul McCartney perform it, and then she'll be in the movie performing the song. And some people actually prefer her version. You know, if you want that, like, soulful version as opposed to, like, the more instrumented rock version.
I really liked it. I liked her interpretation of it. It was good.
I thought both were really good. She's actually from Cleveland.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
God.
Mm-hmm. And she unfortunately died kind of young. She had a brain tumor or something like that.
Oh, that's sad.
Very sad. But she was a well-known singer, you know, for, like, you know, that style of music. So
I'm going to say really quickly, for the theme song, I do know that song. I don't know why, but like 2 weeks ago, I had just the refrain "Live and Let Die" stuck in my head. And like, I knew it as, I thought it was a Beatles song, but like I knew it at, like I knew the
Yeah.
Paul McCartney connection. I did not know the James Bond thing. Because
Yep.
I didn't know the name of this movie because I don't know a lot about Bond movies.
yeah, you're flying by the seat of your pants with this list.
100%, yes. Like literally like 2 weeks ago, I just in my head, "Live and Let Die."
So the reviews at the time were a little bit mixed.
I can understand that. It's a bad movie.
Some of them, a lot of people kind of felt that the movie was kind of in poor taste even back then. But at the same time, people liked Roger Moore fairly well.
I would agree. I think that Roger Moore is doing a good job.
Yeah.
I like his interpretation of Bond, even with him being like kind of smoothed out and unflappable in the face of certain death.
Yeah.
That kind of feels Bondy to me. I think that Roger Moore is doing a good job. I think this movie sucks.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I more or less agree with that. It really does seem like he's kind of just walking through this film and everything around it is kind of bad. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention. There's a guy whose name is Ross Kananga. Ross Kananga is where they got the name for the character
Yeah, for the bad guy.
that Yaphet Kotto plays in this. He was a guy who owned a crocodile ranch in Jamaica.
What?
And that's where they filmed that whole scene.
What?
Yeah, the sign where it says trespassers will be eaten. Apparently they were doing film scouting and saw that sign and said, we got to figure out what this fucking place is. And it turned out that there was this guy living there. And
With a bunch of crocodiles and alligators.
and a bunch of crocodiles and alligators, and they said, can we use your place? Can we use your crocodiles and stuff? And he was like, absolutely. And then when they shot that scene where he was going to jump across on the alligators, they actually had him do it because he was a stuntman.
Wait. Okay, so the guy on screen running across the alligators, that was Kananga.
That was Ross Kananga.
Ross Kananga.
By the way, those were real-ass crocodiles, just 5 of them in a row, and he actually runs across real crocodiles.
I don't know how I feel about that in terms of harm to crocodiles.
Bad. You should feel bad.
I feel kind of bad.
One of the takes, the crocodile actually bit him, and he had to get a bunch of stitches.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I'd probably bite someone if they stood on my back, and I could reach around and stab
By the way,
them.
you can watch all 5 takes on YouTube. We are going to do that here in a minute.
Oh, rad.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy too, because when you watch the takes that are like unedited, it's very obviously not Roger Moore. But in the movie, like the cuts are done in
it's
such
so
a way
fast, yeah.
you can't tell.
There's a bunch of water flapping. Like I didn't even look.
Yeah, totally. I can't believe that he just ran across 5 crocodiles. I still can't believe that that's a real thing that happened with real crocodiles.
Yeah.
To this day.
I also learned something, which is that crocodiles can in fact live up to 120 years old. That's wild.
Yes. So, as I said, at the time things were mixed. Some people kind of liked it. Some people didn't really like it. Reviews on More were generally positive, but on the movie were eh. However, it made a ton of money.
Really?
Yes. So, this movie cost $7 million to make.
Yeah.
It made $126 million.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That is more than Goldfinger by $1 million.
Damn.
It's only less than Thunderball. Now, if you account for inflation, Goldfinger made more.
Yeah.
It also cost less.
Yeah.
You know, so you could argue that like Goldfinger was more successful and Thunderball was more successful. You know, even like You Only Live Twice is kind of in the realm, you know, because it made like $112 million, and so like, you know, but it also had a $10 million budget, so it was more expensive. So this is by any measure like the second or third most successful James Bond film so far.
I hate that. I hate
Yeah.
that for all of us. I hate that for all of us.
I can't quite figure out why, because a large reason why when they made Diamonds Are Forever that they really wanted Sean Connery back is because there was this idea that like, well, nobody's going to see James Bond with this new actor, whoever it is.
Yeah.
And Roger Moore, I think he's better than Lazenby, but he's not like just knocking it out of the park where Lazenby just completely sucked. Like, you know, and I think On Her Majesty's Secret Service is a better film than Live and Let Die is.
Even with all of this stupid editing of On
Yeah.
Her Majesty's Secret Service, I think it's a better film than this one.
But this one made literally like twice what that film made. I don't quite understand it. I don't know what the film universe was like in 1973, but that just happens to be how it is. And that's going to, combined with a couple of later films that would make a ton of fucking money, we'll talk about it. Roger Moore is going to do 7 films. He's going to do 6 more after this fucking...
You know, like the last 2 or 3 of the Sean Connery movies, I was like, I'm kind of done with this. We could freshen this up with a new face. I feel like if the tone continues in the same way, it's going to be a slog to get through the rest of the Roger Moore movies. And again, I don't think that's Roger Moore's fault. I know that like when people talk about Bond movies, they talk about like who is the best Bond or whatever.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a super useful metric to me personally.
I kind of agree.
Just because like, you know, the actor could be acting their absolute heart out.
Yeah.
But if the rest of the movie is a clunky piece of shit, like no one's going to be like, oh yeah, he was good. It's just the movie sucked.
Yeah, like, you know, I had this conversation with my dad once. My dad is an actor. He's directed plays and, you know, he's been in films. I've talked about this a couple of times. And, you know, he's a big James Bond fan. We talk about it all the time. And he says that he thinks that Daniel Craig is the best actor who played James Bond. And he's even kind of critical of, like, Sean Connery. Like, he's like, I think Sean Connery is also a good actor, but, like, some of the actors who played James Bond, like, they're not necessarily, like, the top-tier actors. They're just, like, they do their thing well. And, you know, a lot of people think that Timothy Dalton is a great actor, but his movies were just bad, you know? And I think that, you know, Roger Moore kind of exists in this middle realm where he's, like, in a way, the quintessential James Bond. He was James Bond more than anybody else. We will see that as we go forward. And not only was he James Bond for more than anybody else, he was James Bond for longer than pretty much anybody else as a time thing. So Sean Connery did 6 films from 1962 to 1971. That's less than 10 years.
Yeah.
Roger Moore will do 7 films from 1971 to 1985. So that's 14 years.
The whole world is a whole different place in 71 and 85. Jesus
Yes.
Christ.
Yeah, it's a very different thing. And I don't know. We'll just have to see as we go forward. They're going to give Guy Hamilton one more shot at directing. You know, he did Goldfinger, he did Diamond in Forever, he did Live and Let Die. All three were huge successes, so he's going to get to do another one. He's going to get to do Man with a Golden Gun.
The next movie.
The next movie. Retrospectively, people are kind of on Live and Let Die.
I can see that.
Yeah, the Tomatometer has it 16th out of 25. Well, it's technically 16th out of 27 because they've got the 2 unofficial James Bonds in here as well. They've got it a couple of spots ahead of Diamonds Are Forever, which I
disagree with that.
I disagree with that, as much as I kind of didn't like Diamonds Are Forever. The audience score is 64%, which is less. I guess I can maybe kind of see that, but man, I think that's actually being kind of generous. I'm expecting this to be pretty close to the bottom, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's dead last for me currently.
Yeah, it is for me too. There are definitely a couple that I think later on will go below it, but I was going to say not for a while, but that's not true. In 3 films, we have Moonraker and...
Oh, no, if you're doing that, oh, yikes.
You might like Moonraker. This is the problem. Moonraker is really dumb and really bad, but it's so dumb and so bad and so over the top that it's almost like kind of fun.
Yes, my precious.
But I found it so cringy to watch when I was younger. As a kid, I found it cringy to watch.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. We'll see. The next one, though, Man with a Golden Gun, that's got Christopher Lee.
Ooh.
Christopher Lee is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
He's the man with the golden gun.
Ooh.
He is a world-famous assassin, and he's got 3 nipples. And it's a plot point.
Of course it is.
Man with the Golden Gun is not a good film, but it's fun. I enjoy it.
Good. I'm looking forward after this.
Yeah, it'll be a good palate cleanser, I think. And it also, on the flip side, has the worst theme.
Oh, really?
The Man with the Golden Gun is, in my opinion, the worst James Bond theme of all of them. It's worse than Die Another Day. It's bad. It's even worse than the
Worse than Die Another Day, really?
Oh, yeah.
Because I know that one.
It's worse than Die Another Day.
Ooh.
Bad. Not great. For some reason, made a lot of money.
Man, what a way to describe it.
Yeah.
In a scathingly accurate way.
And Live and Let Die will go right at the bottom of the list. Okay, well, that does it for me. I'm tired.
Yeah, me too.
God. All right. Well, see you next time, folks.
Hope your day is better than this.
Thanks for listening. You can find us at mythingyourthing.com or at mythingyourthingpod on social media. Thanks to RK Maroon for letting us use their song Macaroni Art from the EP You Can't Eat Horses. You can get it at rkmaroon.bandcamp.com. If you have a thing you think we should talk about, email us at mythingyourthingpod@gmail.com, and maybe that could be our thing.